Okay, this is the final week and actually the most important because this week you're really looking at doing the strategic plan as a team exercise. Um, this will kind of bring everything together that we've been talking about. The material in the text is somewhat sketchy. I have done a separate outline um, of what I will be looking for in a strategic plan. So that is posted on the um, Canvas site as well as this video and the slides. Okay, so we want to develop a startup strategic plan. This has a reading section from both the Starting and Building a Nonprofit, your NOLO text, as well as the Nonprofit Management 101. Also see the Developing a Startup Plan, the handout that I have posted. So the purpose is to start and then operate a sustainable nonprofit. You need to have a plan. You can't just start off and say, I hope that this works well. It starts with a vision, but it's accomplished through developing a plan. A good strategic plan is a roadmap to the success of your nonprofit. With no map, you're going to waste your time and energy wandering around looking for your destination. For example, if you want to go from Oklahoma to San Diego, you know you want to head in a westerly direction, but if you don't have a good map, you're going to spend a lot of time wandering around. It's going to take a lot of time, energy, and wasted fuel. Your planning process may redefine your basic nonprofit idea. It's surprising how when you sit down and look at the background and you evaluate who your target beneficiaries are, and then you start thinking about what do I really want to do, you may end up changing the look and feel of your nonprofit organization. A good strategic plan will also help you raise funds for your nonprofit. In fact, it's essential. Anyone that wants to donate any substantial funds to your organization will want to know that you know what you're doing and how you plan on doing. And strategic planning is an ongoing process. Good companies do an annual update of their strategic plan. So what happens is every year you'll take a few days, get together with your key stakeholders. You'll look at what you did last year, what you accomplished, and then you'll look at redefining and establishing your goals and objectives for the next year as well. But developing a strategic plan does not mean creating a 100-page detailed manifesto. It's not how many pages a strategic plan has. It's how well thought out it is and how comprehensive it is in meeting the needs of your stakeholders and giving your board, your employees, and your volunteers a vision of what needs to be done in the next year or 2 years. So keep it simple. Make it understandable to every stakeholder. A strategic plan is not something to be just put on the shelf and forgotten. It is to be a working document that helps everybody in your organization to achieve what is necessary to be successful during the coming year. Good plans are detailed for 1 year with general goals discussed for an additional 1 or 2 years. Anything beyond 3 years, in my opinion, is just speculation. For your plan for the class, what I'm looking for is a 2-year plan, which will be very detailed for the first year, and then being able to build on that as to what you would expect to do for the second year. Who should participate in the development of a strategic plan? Well, of course, your board will. You will also want your employees to be involved so that they get buy-in and know what is happening within the organization. You also want selected representatives from your external stakeholders, and that would be from people like your volunteers, donors. If there's a foundation that is supporting you, you'll want to make sure that your contact for that is invited at least and that they are able to send somebody so that they can have input, they can help set the direction, and more importantly, they know what you're planning on doing as well. Okay, what I've given you is a 5-step process. Step 1 is to look at your mission, vision, and environment. Step 2 is to assess your current resources. Step 3 is to do a SWOT, which is strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat analysis. This looks internal to your organization as well as external to your environment. Step 4 is to develop action plan strategies. That's the actual action. That's the roadmap that you actually develop that tells you what you're going to do and how you're going to do it and when you're going to do it and who's going to do it within your organization. And then step 5 is to review, edit, and finalize the plan and to establish criteria for evaluating the success, or at least if not the success, at least that the plan is being followed. So step 1, vision, environment, and mission. What is the vision for your H&O? What do you want to accomplish? Why are you feeling that this is something that you really want to put your life and soul into? Part of this is to look at the environment for your nonprofit. Under the guerrilla marketing, we talked about positioning of your organization. This is basically the same, but looking at it at a strategic level. What are the needs to be addressed by your H&O? What are the competitors? And what are the potential alliances within your environment? This is a general overview of what the environment looks like for your nonprofit organization. Who are the key stakeholders of your nonprofit organization? I like to see this broken into internal stakeholders and external. Internal would be the board, employees. I consider the volunteers internal. They can be internal or external, depending on how you view it. But the internal stakeholders are those that you can actually direct and tell what to do and how to do it. Then the external stakeholders would be, the number one would be your target beneficiaries. What is your nonprofit established for? Who are the products and services going to? Those are a key external stakeholder. But you have other ones as well. You have donors, you have fundraisers, you have maybe government bodies, maybe you have churches or a church or schools. People that are affected by your nonprofit organization are all stakeholders. And on those, you need to understand what the needs of each stakeholder are. These stakeholders are the groups of people that will make or break your nonprofit organization. So what are the needs of each stakeholder group? Why are the donors giving to your organization? There's some internal need that they feel that they need to give money to you for. But just as important are what are the expectations of each stakeholder group. Sometimes they may not even realize what their needs are, and you'll help through your nonprofit to show that. But the expectations, what are they expecting to benefit from your nonprofit? Remember, we talked about on guerrilla marketing how your thrust, your emphasis, looking at the effect on your customers, on your stakeholders. So the fourth part of this is the strategic mandates of your nonprofit. What are the key mandates that will drive your nonprofit? These mandates are linked to the needs and expectations of your stakeholders. Just because a stakeholder has an expectation, you need to consider it, be aware of it, but you may not take that and make it an actual mandate of your nonprofit. So you look at the needs and the expectations, and from that you condense that down into strategic mandates that you're going to meet as part of your nonprofit organization. And finally, after you've done all this, you understand the environment, you understand your key stakeholders, then you sit down and write your mission statement. It needs to be succinct, it needs to be tight, it needs to be something that motivates and directs all the stakeholders, especially the board, the employees, the volunteers, and your donors. Okay, that was step 1. Step 2, assessment of current resources. Look at your people resources, the cash and asset resources that are available to your nonprofit. And don't forget the knowledge and network resources that you bring to it as well. Many times people look at their nonprofits, they are driven to do certain things because of their past experience and knowledge. This happens a lot with former service men and women. They come out and they see a need on helping other service personnel as they come out, so that they want to set up a nonprofit to be able to meet the needs of these people. Therefore, they have a certain knowledge and they may have certain network and contacts that will be beneficial. So you're going to have to make some of these are, for this exercise, are going to be assumptions made for your hypothetical nonprofit. I'll deal with that in the conclusion. Your step 3 is to do a SWOT analysis. A SWOT is your strengths, weaknesses, that's internal, opportunities and threats, and those are external. So you need to evaluate what are the strengths of your nonprofit. These are the internal strengths. Example would be you have a strong board or good connections in the industry, or you have some special knowledge and experience that really gives your organization a very strong assets that you can build your future on and build a strategic plan on. But at the same time, you need to consider the weaknesses. Yes, you want to build on the strengths, but you want to be able to overcome the weaknesses. And before you do that, you have to identify them. So these are internal, and examples are limited number of volunteers. Startup organizations, limited funding is usually a key limitation, a key weakness. And then you have your opportunities and threats. These are opportunities are external to your organization. It could be target beneficiaries or underserved. There may be changing economic or social conditions that are giving you special opportunities. There may be good alliance opportunities with other nonprofit organizations that you're going to want to look at and strategically plan to maximize. Your threats are just making sure that you're aware of what things might happen. These are external. There could be governmental regulations, changing economic conditions that will affect the donors and your funding source. And so on your threats, you want to be able to anticipate those and have some contingency plans put in place. Step 4, you want to develop your operational strategies. You set goals for your nonprofit. In setting your goals, you want to make sure that they reflect the mandates of your nonprofit. Look at the resources that are available and reinforce your strengths. Correct your weaknesses, take advantage of your opportunities, and plan contingencies for your threat. We're going to do goals for 2 years, and the objectives are the of the actual steps you're going to take to be able to meet the goals. And so your objectives need to be SMART. And a SMART is that they need to be simple, a single action. They need to be measurable, it's quantifiable. You have to be able to measure the fact that that goal has been achieved. You want to assign the goals. You want to identify responsibility, either a team or a department. And you want the objectives to be reasonable. They have to be achievable, not pie in the sky. And they have to be timely. You have to set a time limit as to when these will be satisfied. And then step 5 is to establish a plan to review and approve the procedures. How are you going to be able to monitor this going forward? Okay, so how are you going to review and approve your plan? Involve your key stakeholders. Include the internal stakeholders, that's obvious, but include selected external stakeholders, such as donors, volunteers, and target beneficiaries. Get their input. Let them talk to you and find out what they're looking for, and let them look at it on the front end and say, this is a good idea or this is a bad idea. And then how will you track your strategic plan? If it's put on the shelf and ignored, it was a waste of time. Okay, so in conclusion, this is a team project, but do not assign a section of the strategic plan to a team member and then just merely glue it together. I see that done, and I see that one section contradicts another section. So make sure that you collaborate together. You can assign sections for people to do the initial work, but make sure as a team you discuss it and identify the entire plan. Select one H&O from your team to use for this assignment. And then you will need to make certain assignments for your assumptions. Just be sure to identify that for purposes of this exercise. It is assumed that, etc., etc. Very good. If you have questions, don't hesitate to contact your instructor. Thank you very much.